blind black Vietnam veteran, is humiliated by a famous pianist. Beginning. The night was warm and damp, and the city lights reflected off the rain-slick streets of New York like molten gold. Alvin Harris shuffled carefully along the cracked sidewalk, tapping his worn cane against the curb. He was 74, his face dark and lined with the stubborn strength of a man who had survived too much. Alvin had lost his sight during the Vietnam War, when a phosphorus grenade exploded near his squad. While the government gave him medals, folded flags, and words about sacrifice, Alvin lived the rest of his life in darkness. But blindness never broke him. Instead, Alvin found solace in music. He had grown up in Alabama, where his grandmother's battered upright piano filled their wooden house with gospel and blues. After the war, though he could not see, Alvin learned to play by touch and memory. His thick fingers moved like flowing rivers across keys, and though few outside his community knew his name, in Harlem bars and subway stations, people would stop, listen, and cry when Alvin played. Yet, tonight was different. Alvin was invited to a special charity gala held at the Carnegie Center for the Arts. The event was organized to raise money for veterans struggling with homelessness and trauma. A wealthy sponsor had arranged for a world-renowned pianist, Lucien Gray, to perform. Lucien was celebrated across the globe, a man whose concert sold out within hours, whose face appeared on magazine covers, and whose fingers were often called the hands of God. Alvin had mixed feelings. He appreciated the fundraiser, but hated the showmanship that often turned veterans' suffering into spectacle. Still, his neighbor, a kind young woman named Tamika, insisted on bringing him along. "You deserve this, Mr. Harris," she said as she guided his arm up the marble steps. Not just to listen, but to be seen. Inside, chandeliers spilled light across polished floors. Guests clinked glasses of champagne, their laughter bouncing from golden walls. Alvin felt out of place, his worn coat and scuffed shoes marking him as an intruder among tuxedos and diamond necklaces. But he held his chin high. When the concert began, silence swept the hall. Lucien Gray, tall and elegant, stepped onto the stage. His silver hair shone beneath the lights, and his long coat trailed behind him like a cape. He bowed dramatically before sitting at a gleaming Steinway grand piano. Then his fingers danced. The notes soared, delicate, furious, impossibly precise. The audience gasped at his speed and brilliance. Alvin tilted his head, listening closely. Yes, Lucien had technique, but Alvin felt something missing. The music had perfection, but no scars, no pain, no soul. Tamika whispered, "Ain't he something?" Alvin only smiled faintly. He remembered his grandmother's words. A man can play all the right notes, but his heart's empty. The piano stays silent. Middle. After the concert, guests gathered in the reception hall for wine, small talk, and a chance to meet the pianist. Tamika guided Alvin through the crowd until they reached the center, where Lucien stood surrounded by admirers. "Mr. Gray," Tamika said, "this is Alvin Harris. He's a Vietnam veteran and a musician himself. He loved your performance." Lucien turned, his blue eyes sharp as cut glass. He offered a tight smile. "A pleasure." His gaze flicked over Alvin's cane, his weathered coat, the blind man's unshaven face. There was a faint curl to his lip. "You're a pianist too?" Lucien asked, his tone lightly mocking. "Yes, sir," Alvin said calmly. "I play by ear." "By ear," Lucien repeated, with a chuckle that earned laughter from those nearby. "How quaint. Well, I suppose anyone can play a few gospel tunes if they don't mind wrong notes." Alvin stiffened. Tamika's hand gripped his arm. Sensing the insult, Lucien continued, louder now, so the crowd could hear. "Ladies and gentlemen, we mustn't confuse amateurs with artists. A true pianist requires sight. Sight to read centuries of compositions, to interpret the great masters. Without it, one is incomplete." The laughter stung. Alvin's chest tightened, but he swallowed the hurt. He had faced worse humiliation in the army, worse cruelty on American streets when he returned home, wearing his uniform only to be called slurs. Still, something inside him burned hot. Tamika bristled. "Mr. Gray, Alvin fought for this country before you were even born. He lost his sight for people like you. Show some respect." Lucien waved a dismissive hand. "War and music are not the same, my dear. Sacrifice does not equal artistry." He leaned closer to Alvin. "Tell you what, veteran, why don't you give us a demonstration? There's a piano right over there. Show us your talent." The crowd murmured with anticipation. Some guests looked uncomfortable, others curious. Alvin's pulse raced. He hadn't performed on a stage like this in decades. He could walk away, keep his dignity, avoid becoming their entertainment. But Alvin straightened his back. His grandmother's voice echoed in memory. "Never let a man tell you your song don't matter." "All right," Alvin said. "I'll play." Gasps rippled through the audience. Tamika squeezed his hand. "You don't have to." "I do," Alvin whispered. They guided him to Steinway. He slid his fingers across the cool ivory keys, mapping their shape, their weight. For a long moment, silence filled the hall. Then Alvin began. The first notes were soft, trembling like raindrops. Then came thunder. His hands moved with surprising strength, weaving gospel hymns into jazz improvisations, bending melodies into blues that carried the ache of centuries. He played memories, the heat of the jungle, the screams of fallen brothers, the quiet prayers of his grandmother, the laughter of children on Harlem streets. The music bled, wept, soared. Some guests covered their mouths, tears streaming down their cheeks. Others closed their eyes, swaying. Even Tamika trembled, whispering, "Lord." When Alvin finished, silence held the room. Then thunderous applause erupted, echoing like rolling waves. Everyone applauded. Everyone except Lucien Gray. His smile was thin, but his eyes glinted with something sharp, something dangerous. "Impressive for a man without sight," Lucien said coolly. "But emotion alone cannot rival mastery. You played as though grasping in the dark. Technique, structure, those were absent. This is why professionals exist." The world needs brilliance, not pity performances. The applause faltered. Gasps whispered through the crowd. Alvin sat quietly, hands resting on his knees. He felt no shame now, only calm. Sir, he said softly, music don't live in your eyes. It lives here. He pressed his chest. And maybe one day you'll find it. Lucien's jaw tightened. He turned away, dismissing him like a servant. But the audience would not forget the shift toward science fiction. That night, as Alvin walked home with Tamika, something strange happened. In the alley near his apartment, he heard a low humming, like 1,000 bees trapped in a glass jar. He stopped, tilting his head. What is it? Tamika asked. Alvin's cane vibrated faintly in his hand. The air smelled of ozone, sharp and electric. Then, a circle of light opened before them, a portal, shimmering with stars and shifting colors. A voice spoken within, layered and resonant. Alvin Harris, your music has awakened a frequency buried within time itself. You are chosen. Tamika gasped. What is that? Before Alvin could respond, the light engulfed him. When he opened his eyes, or rather, when he felt sight for the first time in decades, he stood in a chamber of crystal walls, surrounded by beings of radiant energy. Their forms shimmered, constantly shifting, like silhouettes carved from galaxies. Where am I? Alvin whispered. You are in the Hall of Resonance. One being answered. Across the cosmos, music is not entertainment. It is power. Each true song alters reality, weaving harmony or chaos. Few across history have carried the resonance within them. You, Alvin Harris, are one. Alvin staggered. For the first time since Vietnam, he could see, not with human eyes, but through waves of sound that painted the chamber in vibrant colors. Every footstep, every breath, every heartbeat gave shape to the world. You insulted one who plays with empty fingers. The being continued. But your song holds scars, truth, and creation. With it, you may heal worlds or destroy them. Alvin trembled. He thought of Lucien Gray, of the cruel words, of humanity's hunger for perfection without soul. What do you want from me? Alvin asked. We ask nothing, the being said. Only that you choose. Return to your world and fade into silence, or accept your resonance and play a song that will change everything. Climax. Back on Earth, the gala became scandal. The video of Alvin's performance spread online, millions praising the blind veteran who outplayed the famous pianist. Lucien Gray, humiliated, grew obsessed. He tracked Alvin, demanding a rematch, determined to reclaim his pride. Weeks later, in Carnegie Hall again, Lucien confronted Alvin on stage before another audience. This time, Lucien declared, we duel, not with emotion but with perfection. The world will see who truly deserves the name of artist. Alvin, now carrying the resonance within him, nodded. All right, but know this, it won't be just music. Lucien began, his fingers blurred, faster than lightning, summoning intricate sonatas that dazzled the ear. The crowd cheered. He smirked, certain of victory. Then Alvin played. This time, the resonance poured out. His notes bent reality. The walls shimmered. The lights pulsed. Time itself slowed to the rhythm of his chords. The audience gasped as visions filled the hall. Memories of soldiers lost, children laughing, galaxies forming, rivers of starlight stretching into eternity. His music wasn't just heard, it was lived. Lucien's notes shattered against it, hollow and brittle, his face twisted with rage. No, I am the master. He pounded the keys, but his sound was devoured by Alvin's resonance. Finally, Alvin's last note rang. A single, trembling tone that echoed like the heartbeat of the universe. Silence fell. Lucien slumped, defeated, his hands trembling. For the first time, tears filled his eyes. Alvin stood. Music is not mastery, Lucien. It is mercy. It is memory. It is soul. Without that, your brilliance is nothing but noise. The audience erupted, not in applause, but in awe. Many fell to their knees, weeping, ending. After that night, Alvin did not seek fame. He returned to his small apartment, playing on his grandmother's old piano for the children of his neighborhood. But those who listened felt something awaken in them. Courage, healing, hope. The Hall of Resonance remained within him, its power humming with every note he played. Alvin knew his blindness was no curse but a gift, guiding him beyond sight, into truths no eyes could see. As for Lucien Gray, he vanished from the public eye. Some said he wandered the world searching for soul. Others claimed he, too, had heard the resonance and could never play the same again. Alvin smiled whenever asked. Maybe one day he'll find it. Until then, I'll keep playing. And so, in a world obsessed with perfection and spectacle, the blind black Vietnam veteran reminded humanity of the truth. That music, like life, is not about flawless notes, but the scars between them, the places where pain and beauty meet, and where even the broken can create harmony.